Hey, what's going on? I'm so glad that you are here watching this video to think about what are the best practices for starting your grow group. Now, maybe you've been here and this is your first time to start a group, or maybe this is your first, your second, your third, or your fourth one. It don't matter, right? We've all got to go back to the basics and think about how do we start a grow group. I really want to just take this time and talk to you kind of like if we're just kind of across from each other, drinking some coffee or having a meal. I know you can't talk to me, but I can definitely talk to you, and I want this to be casual. I don't want to be a talking head, which it probably will turn into that, but who cares? So when you think about starting your first group, what are some of the best practices? Well, I've got some written down right here that I want to share with you that I think are pretty helpful, because when you think about starting your first group, there is a lot of anxiety. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, it is a freaky thing to go out on this endeavor and to begin to launch your first group. It can feel overwhelming, right? Some of the questions I thought about is like, man, where are we going to find these people? Who am I going to disciple? What does it look like? What if I mess up? What if I say the wrong thing, right? These are all thoughts that run through our minds. And so I kind of wrote down some things here that I thought would be really good practices for you and for I to think about as we are going to lead grow groups here at Cross Creek or wherever God takes you around the world. So here are really 4 key practices I want us to think about. The first one is choosing someone to disciple, right? This is usually where all the struggles begin. Just to be honest, we think about just ourselves going, man, where do I find the people? How do I know who are the right people? Is the person that I'm actually engaging with even right for this grow group? Those are all great questions. Honestly, if you've thought of those questions, man, you are human and you're doing the right thing. But when we think about this, we want to think about a few things that we may try to do when choosing someone. And some of that may be beginning with prayer, just taking time to pray and ask God to give you eyes to see, right? To bring you to the right people to begin to invest in them. Now, as you're praying, you've also got to place yourself in places where people are going to be, right? You can't just pray and then go lock yourself in the house. Sometimes I want to do that, but that's not what we're asking you to do, and that's not what Jesus asked you to do. He asked you to pray, but also to place yourself in places where those people may be. That may be the ballpark. It may be your workplace. It may be, I don't know, wherever you frequent, right? Whether it's your connect group or worship services, make sure you're putting yourself where God can put you across someone's path as you are praying. Another thing is think about people of interest. In John 1, verse 37, you see the first disciples following after Jesus. Also, you kind of see it with here with Timothy and Paul, right? Timothy kind of had some spiritual interest and Paul brought him under the wing. And both those scenarios and situations, these are people showing spiritual interest. And so what I mean by that is look for people who are popping, who are involved, who are kind of hanging around, asking spiritual questions. These would be really good people to begin to engage with and go, ooh, just maybe, these may be the people to be in your grow group. Which leads me to the next thing is to look for people of faith, right? That is look for people who are faithful, available, involved. They are teachable and hungry, right? You think about 2 Timothy 2:2. There's a verse I want to read here. It says, "And the things you have heard from me, say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable men who will be qualified to teach others also." Right? So really Paul was communicating here, what I've taught to you, now teach the other people who will be faithful to teach others also. So how do we find people who are of faith? Some people say FAD or, they're all different acronyms, but we're going to go with faith. And we're looking for people who are faithful, who show up and are consistent and do what they say they're going to do. We're looking for people who are available. They make time in their calendar. They make adjustments. They are adaptable. We look for people who are involved, right? They're in group. They're in a connect group. They're serving in some capacity. They are teachable in spirit, right? They're not debating you all the time, but are actually asking good questions. And then people are hungry, right? If you don't have someone who's hungry in your group, you're going to have a very miserable grow group. Because think about it. You just went through one. You had to memorize scripture. You had to do daily reading. You had to do daily Bible reading. And then you had to show up and think about I will statements. It's a lot of work. You need someone hungry, okay? The second practice is to determine your approach. Now, as you can imagine, there are so many different debates on how to disciple someone, right? They are far and wide. Think about it. Is it one-on-one or is it in a group setting? Those are really 2 camps that a lot of people debate a lot of time. And honestly, there's really no good answer. All of you black and white people out there, I'm so sorry. There's just not a good answer. Now, our preferred method is groups. here at Cross Creek, but really, honestly, whatever works best. In fact, I've led many one-on-one groups and just, they're with one-on-one people. I've also led groups of people, of 4 people, 5 people. They're all really great in their own way. But I want to break it down. One-on-one is actually a really good way if you're just getting started and you just have one person who is hot and ready to go, then go with it. Disciple that one person. It's great. It's flexible. It's easy to schedule. It's pretty intentional because it's just you and that other person. But when you think about groups are really best positioned to do disciple making really for several reasons. We see God working in groups. You think about the Trinity, you think about the family unit, you think of the nation Israel. Jesus led groups, right? He led the 12 disciples during his ministry. You got the Apostle Paul who invested in groups of people. You got, we experience community in groups. We learn from people in groups. The best, and we support better in group settings because you have multiple people in the room to help hold you accountable, right? It's not just you and another person, but now multiple people are involved in this thing. And so when we think about groups really give us the optimal space in order to do what we need to get done in a grow group. Now, what's the best size? I mean, honestly, probably 3 to 4. If you're doing just 2 people, it's hard because if one misses, then you're having to reschedule all the time. And it's like a domino effect. If you got 6 or more people, then it's just hard to engage everyone. I mean, you're thinking you're going to be there for 2-3 hours just to really get it done. So really keeping it in that 3 to 4 range is probably really healthy and optimal and will really help you get the functionality of a grow group at its fullest. So when you think about it and when you begin to decide and you think through these ideas of like, okay, man, who am I choosing? How am I going to do this? And really your next step is to think about managing your calendar. That's right. It's the one thing that we're all very protective of, right? We don't want to give anybody our calendar, but you got to manage it, right? If you think you're just going to do a grow group on top of everything else in your life and it's already so busy, you will burn out. And so you've got to think about some things about how are you going to rearrange this calendar to go, okay, man, how am I going to begin to sacrifice some things in order to do the thing that I know that God has called me to do, to begin to invest my life. And let's be honest, you make room for things that matter to you. If it matters to you, you will make the time for it. So it's not a matter of, okay, do I have time? It's the matter of, does it really matter to you? That's the question. So here are a few things that I thought of when you're thinking about managing your calendar. 1, take an inventory of your schedule, right? What do you need to eliminate? I mean, personally, I probably spend way too much time on Netflix. I'm just being honest. And probably you do too. So what are some things you need to eliminate so that you can then begin to invest your life into others? And the second thing is that sometimes it's not what you eliminate, but what you repurpose, right? What's something on your calendar right now that you could take and repurpose in order to then invest your life in others? That may be a meal, right? Lunch, dinner, breakfast, a coffee, whatever it may be. How could you leverage that time to invest your life into other people? Another thing is just setting a date every week for your group to go, this is the time, this is the date, and this is the time, the space, the exact location of where we're going to meet every week. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going, whoa, Cameron. Like, dude, you're telling me that I got to set this in stone. Don't you know that calendars change every week? I do. In fact, the reason why I'm telling you to put it in stone and go, hey, we're going to meet at this same time and place every week is because when you do that, it begins to then say, hey, no matter what, we're going to meet every week. Because you've heard it before. Hey, I didn't see it on the calendar. Are we still meeting? Well, when you set it in place, it tells them every week we're going to meet regardless. And if we're not going to meet on that specific day, then we got to change it on the calendar and all commit and say yes to what we're going to change it to. So it just provides other accountability. And the last thing is be flexible, right? Just be flat out flexible. You got to be, what I like to say is adaptable. Sometimes you're going to have to meet in spaces and locations that are just odd or weird. They're kind of loud or not the best in the world. Sometimes you got to meet online via Zoom or Google Meet or Teams. Whatever it is, whatever it takes to be able to meet together as a group. Consistency is key. It really is. Because the moment that you begin to miss 1, 2, 3, 4, it really erodes the commitment, and it really begins to change some of the momentum, right? You begin to lose it. The last practice I want to talk about is casting vision, right? Jesus was so good at casting vision. I mean, you think about just in Matthew 4, 18 through 20, right? Jesus gives this call, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And in that statement, I mean, in those few words, Jesus is saying, hey, here's a commitment, follow me. I will make you, it's going to require transformation, fishers of men. you're going to be on mission. This is going to require some sacrifice. And in those few statements, I mean, Jesus is calling these guys to a whole nother level of their spiritual walk. He's saying, hey, why don't you come along with me for a higher purpose, for a higher calling? You thought fishing was it? Man, I got something greater for you. And that's what we get to do with our people. When we call them to a grow group, we are casting a bigger vision than their career. We're casting a bigger vision than even what their picture is for their life right now. We're saying, hey, man, I know you think it's this, but really God has something much greater. He wants you to invest your life into others and continue on the movement that he began. That's right. That's for you. That's for me. That's for all of us. And one of the things you think about Jesus is that when he gave that call in Matthew 4, it was after the disciples had got done working, right? They're just kind of sitting around, kind of getting some things picked up. And I think that's really good advice, that when you go to cast vision to your person that you're trying to go disciple, don't pick a busy time. Don't wait, and go, oh, I'm going to do it during their work, or call them while they're, doing lawn work or whatever. Find time where you can get face-to-face, knee to knee, and go, hey, man, I see this in you, and I thought, man, hey, let's walk together and invest our lives into each other and walk with God, because God has something much bigger than us. Like, if you sit down and say that to someone face-to-face and you take time to do it and they're not busy, I guarantee you God's gonna work in that person's life. So to really kind of put the big bow on top of all this, right, is that, man, we have such a great and high calling, and you have such a privilege to be able to cast that into that person's life. So don't see this as some small, like, oh, hey, man, or hey, girl, we're just here, and I just thought we'd do a grow group together. No, like this is something much bigger than that. We are learning how to walk as Jesus walked in order to carry on his movement. We should be excited about this. We should be really casting a vision so big, man, that people get so excited and go, I want to be part of that. I want to walk with you in that. So as you prepare for your first group, your second group, your third group, or fourth, whatever it is, just remember, we got to go back to the basics and think about, man, who we're going to choose, what is my method, how am I going to manage my calendar, and how am I casting vision? And am I casting a big enough vision that it's really drawing them to go, yeah, I'm sold. I want to get into this. So that's a wrap of this video. I'll see you in the next one. We're going to talk about just some of the key practices on how to lead your grow group. I'll see you on the next one.